Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Marina. I am a certified lash tech based in Toronto, Canada, and I like to make lash extension videos. So today we are going to be doing another mega volume spiky set, and I'm going to try to give you guys new tips that are quite different from my other videos of spiky sets so that I can continuously help you guys in different ways. Before I start all my videos, I'm just putting a disclaimer that everything that I'm teaching you guys and showing you guys are things that work for me. So if it might not work for you, I encourage everyone to continuously keep learning from different avenues and different resources. I'm just here to create an avenue of learning, so I hope in some way you guys can take something away from this video. So we are doing another mega volume spiky set. I had this client drive really far away, like a few hours away from where I live, just to get lashed by me. So that was really cool and different. So I just kind of want to boast about that because I thought it was really cool that she drove all the way just to get work done by me. So today we are going to be focusing on 3 different tips that are different from my last videos so that I can continuously give you new information so that I don't sound redundant and repetitive. So tip number 1 that I kind of want to focus on is that when you are doing these textured sets, it's really easy to kind of get lost in the texture and the spikiness, and it compromises the type of style you are trying to create. Meaning, if you are trying to create a cat eye, you would still want that drastic increase in sizes from the inner to outer corner to create the cat eye look. However, this is doll eye. So obviously with doll eye, you're going to try to keep the longest lengths in the middle. Now, when I first started doing these types of textured sets, it would always turn out to look a little bit, I guess, 1, not symmetrical, and 2, also the style that the person wanted to get was now lost because there's just so much texture going on that I totally lost focus of the mapping. So as I continuously started to learn and adjust how I do these sets, I've come to the realization that I'm gonna have to keep a certain length when it comes to each of the mapping sections. So for example, if I'm going to be doing a doll eye set, in the inner corners, I'm going to try to keep it relatively small, even with the spikes. So I might try to find a very small base fan and then add a spike that's on the shorter end. As in comparison to before, I used to do, let's say, a 9mm decurl in the inner corner of the eye, and then I'd spike it up with maybe a 14 or 16. Now, if you're gonna go and jump all the way to 14 and 16 right off the bat in the inner corner, you can really kind of compromise the style that you're going for because that length alone is so long. So now I try to keep it no higher than 12 for the spike, and I try to go as low as I can for the fan. So in the inner corner, I'll maybe try to focus more on an 8mm or even go down to a 7mm so that the spikes are still noticeable, but they are on the shorter end. So I'll do an 8mm base fan, and then add a 12mm spike in the inner corner so that as you gradually increase your sizes and your spikes while creating that texture, you still get that doll eye effect. Because if you start with a 14mm spike, you're gonna start to just get a jagged, messy look, which is on its own a different type of set. But if someone's asking me for a spiky doll eye set, you're gonna want to make sure to create that doll eye effect still without compromising the entire style, but also still creating as much texture and wispiness as possible. So I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions for me to clarify, please let me know and I'll try to answer as soon as possible. Okay, so tip number 2, I know that sometimes creating texture, especially like I said with the different lengths, can be quite difficult. So something you can do to add more of this texture jagginess while still keeping the style is to add different curls within your entire look. So even if, let's say, maybe like in the middle of the eye, you are doing a cat eye set. Now, for a cat eye set, you always want to have a one curl higher on the outer corners, and that still goes for doll eye set as well. But remember, doll eye would be going, let's say, 9 millimeters in the middle, and then you're gonna go to the highest, maybe like 14 on the middle of the eye, and then the outer corner would be a double D 9 millimeter curl. With a cat eye, it would be maybe 9 millimeter D curl in the inner corner, and then you gradually increase, and when you get near the end of the eye, you're going to taper out with the highest curl and the highest length, which would be like a 14 millimeter double D curl on the very outer corner to get that cat eye effect. Well, you can still achieve these types of styles while incorporating different types of curls to just give it more of a jagged, textured look. So just make sure to stay in sequence with the mapping. If you're gonna do some double D curls within the D curls to add that texture, make sure the lengths are still short so that you aren't going to be compromising the style, let's say for like a cat eye set. So I would, for a cat eye set, do maybe like a 9 millimeter D curl, then I'll just add in a few 9 millimeter double D curls so that they get mixed up, and then you can add like a nice jaggedness, a nice spikiness to the set, and then you're still gonna gradually go up. So the next would be 10 millimeters D curl, and then maybe a few double D curls in there. And then what I would do is, if you're going to create a cat eye set, when you're going to spike it up, I would try to just keep it as the D curl all through at the very corners. And if you want to add more texture, that's where you can add the different lengths in so that you can add texture to it. But keep it just all double D curl, because with a cat eye set, you really want to curl up at the very ends to give that nice flick. For the doll eye set, I think it'd be a little bit different. You can still add the 9 millimeter double D curl on the very outer corner to still give it a lifted look, but I think that if you added a few D curls in there, it wouldn't compromise the set too much, because again, a doll eye set is focusing more on the center of the eye anyway. And then lastly, to create darker spikes, let's say you find that the spikes are getting lost, especially in a mega volume set, the spikes can get really lost in there because it's such a dense set, it's so dark. So what I do is I place a bunch of spikes next to each other, or in like a bunch, so that the spikes become more prominent, and then they really show through that mega volume set. So when you look at my mega volume textured sets, the spikes are really prominent, they stand out, and that's just because I add multiple spikes next to each other so it looks like one large dark spike. So that was my last tip. I hope that there was some clarity to that. Sorry if I'm stuttering a little bit, I'm just trying to collect my thoughts, but I hope that it makes sense. I think the main takeaway and the main focus of this video would be to create texture without compromising style, because people love their styles. I know a lot of girls who are really adamant about doll eye, who love doll eye, and you don't want to accidentally give them a cat eye, and vice versa. So make sure to stick with the mapping, understand how to map these styles, and gradually increase for cat eye, and then for doll eye, gradually increase in the middle and then decrease on the outer corners to really give that open eye effect. But at the same time, still adding different curls, still adding different lengths, but not too long and not too curly so that it's not, you can't see that it's a cat eye, or you can't see that it's a doll eye. Just stick with the mapping and add different spikes, but not too long. So I really hope this makes sense to you guys. This is just how I kind of go about my textured sets, and also just to make those spikes more prominent, I add a bunch of spikes next to each other so it looks like one big spike. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you were able to take something away from this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you found it helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer as soon as possible. I post every Sunday around 6:15, and I appreciate everybody's support. Thanks so much, guys. I forgive all the harm you've done to me.
ya. Although you give me all the reasons why I found my soul. You're my anxiety. You're my anxiety. I don't want you, you don't need me, I don't need you. But without you, who would I be? I love you. Although you get me feeling pain, you know I can't control